Don't get me wrong. I do not believe that the police units should be using military-style weapons on protesters. But what I'm about to present to you here smells just like a setup. And it goes right along with the video I just put out about them opening this huge investigation into the Ferguson police units. And if they deem that they cannot do their job, what they're going to do is they're going to bring in the feds. And the feds are going to take over local policing. And that is the last thing that you want to see. And what it looks like here is, and this is crazy, they're coming back to all agencies across the country that use military weapons at riots, and they're saying, you may be forced to repay us now. And look, hold on, what are you talking about? And this could burst the financial bubble at some of these small stations. It's a setup, I'm telling you. They're saying, yeah, you use this stuff on protesters, you're going to repay us. They're like, hold on, you never told us we couldn't. They've done this in Boston, they've done this in California, they've done this everywhere with these APCs and stuff. And they're like, well, no, if you use these on the protesters, you could be forced to repay the federal grants. And they're like, hold up. You know, how much is this going to be? You see what I'm saying? And then what? Are they going to take them back if they can't pay? And they're going to do all this right before ISIS really does come, and then we have no defense whatsoever? Just a big setup. They should park these things in a garage. They should not use them against the protesters unless there is a real battle in the streets, you know, shots and stuff. Not the staged theatrics of Ferguson that you see on all Vice News, which, you know, it happens. But going there, I learned in the flesh. I got to see that for myself and learn a lot of things. If I would have never went, I would have never known. And you know, I'm sure these police forces down here, because there was multiple ones, have learned a lot of things about this as well. They have to know that they're being set up here. They have to be like, damn, dude, this just ain't right. They were down. I've already showed you how they were training groups. They were training the protesters, the federal government, to rally against the police, to get the police ticked off, to fight back. That way, the federal government can say, you guys are using misconduct, shoving barrels in people's faces. Happened to me. You see what I'm saying? It's just a big setup. I just don't like the looks of it. I know they're not. None of these stations are going to be happy, especially if they can't afford to pay this. And what happens if they just stick them with it? And they're like, well, now you owe us with this, and it forces that police station to go under. To like cut 4 or 5 cops just because of the APC that they can't afford. Then what? You've got 3 cops in an APC, but you've got a neighborhood that is going unprotected. I mean, there's a lot of different ways this could go. It just looks like a setup. They bring in all this military equipment and dump it on all these stations. No guidelines or specifications whatsoever. Because you've seen they've used them all across the country. And of course, there's no terrorist attacks. They're, you know, going on. It's just protest. They've been using them everywhere. So now what? All of these stations, what's going to happen to them is the question. I know that they're sitting there, you know, twiddling their thumbs like, man, what are we going to do? Like, just give it back. Well, my thing is this. They gave it to all these guys because they didn't have room for it in the first place. Wherever the hell they came from, because they were bringing in new military equipment there. So we're going to have to keep an eye on what's going on here with all this military equipment within the United States. And if it starts to leave the police agencies, we need to pay attention to where it's really going. If they're saying off to the scrapyard, we need to make sure that that's the case. And also be keeping an eye on how they do these local police agencies. And if they force them to repay these, you know, period. We'll see where it goes here. It just, like I said before, through and through, seems like a setup with this military equipment. I'll leave a link. Y'all stay sharp, stay safe out there. It's been Dabu7. Peace.